Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Just Seen Podcast. And today, as you've seen from the title, we're going to be talking about listening. The art of understanding. Um, Literally, I'm having this conversation because low-key, I feel like I was ignored one time within these last couple of days. And it wasn't that I was ignored. I realized that I wasn't ignored. It's just that the person wasn't processing what the hell I was saying. And I'm like, yo, that's not what I'm saying. And they're like, yo, this is what you're saying. This is one of those things where I'm like, all right, I know this what I'm saying, but that's not what I'm talking about. And it got me thinking. It was like the person was hearing me and they were reacting to what I was saying verbally. And they weren't listening to me and responding to what I was saying. They were just reacting to what they were hearing from me. So I was like, yo, like, I'm not even talking about that. And they're like, yes, you are. I'm like, so one part of me is, thinking about, social media shit and everybody, gaslighting. It's like this person is gaslighting me. And I was like, nah, I don't think this person's gaslighting me. I don't think they would gaslight me. I know you're not gaslighting me because you wouldn't do no shit like that. And the person really wasn't gaslighting me, but they literally weren't understanding what I was saying to them. And I was like, wow, you can't listen to me. You feel me? And as I'm going over it, I was watching a video. This is like a different tangent. So I was watching a video, and in the video that I was watching, the guy was saying, he was like, yo, listening is the art of understanding. And I was like, damn. But you know me, once I get a thought and it catalyzes, right? I'm like, bruh. And it took me down a rabbit hole that eventually is going to turn into this episode. Uh, One thing that I've learned is that in order for people to listen, like when he said that listening is the art of understanding, it hit me differently because I was like, wow, if listening is the art of understanding and understanding is the highest level of the mind, it's like, wow, if a motherfucker has not processed the information that you're telling them all the way to understanding and they're on a level of belief, or this is their first time gaining it and it's knowledge for them, or you're not going to be talking about the same thing. Therefore, they can't listen to you. Even deeper than that, listening has its depths because the more that I know, the better I'm able to listen. The more that I've acquired, the better I'm able to listen. This is not to say, if I'm smarter than you, I can listen better. No. But the more information that I have pertaining to a specific topic means that I can understand the topic better, which means I have a better proclivity to listen to it. And it was like, damn, bro. We get so wrapped up in hearing and reacting to what we hear that we really don't realize what it is to actually listen. I get it all the time. People say, yeah, you heard me, but were you listening to me? You know what I'm saying? But it's like, well, what does that mean I knew that there was a difference, but this actually surmises an actual difference for me, and an understandable difference to realize, like, I can't get mad at people who can't listen to me. And it's not that you're ignoring me. You're hearing everything that I'm saying, but you can't process the information to the understanding level to even begin to listen to what it is that I'm telling you. And then I thought back to the times when I didn't listen to motherfuckers, and I'm like, you know what? I could not have possibly listened to you. I heard you and reacted to what you said. I didn't listen to you because I didn't even understand what you was talking about. And it's like, damn. And this opens up a whole different world because this opens up a world of how we understand academia, how we understand spirituality, how we understand religion, how we understand every aspect of our lives. It is predicated upon how well we listen. And the listening is dependent upon not our ears, but how well we have the proclivity to understand some information, how our minds can take some information from belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and then we can listen to it. That's amazing to know. So much so that it had to become a podcast episode because I'm like, damn, you hearing what I'm saying, but you not listening to me. And I could not formulate why the person wasn't listening because they were responding to what they were hearing. And what they were responding to made sense versus what they're hearing. But I'm like, you're not listening to what I'm saying. And I would always think about, you know, people always telling me, you're very articulate. Like you can really, you have enough vocabulary and experience to thoroughly articulate what you're saying. And I'm like, it used to, like, I get it, but it's like, what if somebody's ears aren't articulate enough to hear what the hell you're saying? They can't listen because they don't have enough life experience and information and just vocabulary, whatever, to even understand what you're saying. You know how many of our conversations have been fucked up over the years? It's crazy. But before we dive heavy into that, be sure to follow me on Instagram at _just_scene_. Be sure to check out my website at IamJustSeen.com to get all things that are just seen. To all those who tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you are greatly appreciated. To all those who would like to tip, donate, and sponsor the podcast, you can do so by clicking the link in the description of your podcast. Not this episode, but the podcast itself. You know the vibes. That's that for this. No, as always, Cash App and PayPal are just fine. Until like June, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I think Fed Now is gonna be kicking in, and Cash App, PayPal, all this shit is gonna stop. So if that is the case, I'll make the updates then. But for now, it is what it is. And I'm only saying that now because it just hit me. But as always, that's that for this, and that's this for that. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we are going to dive into listening, the art of understanding. And don't forget to visit IamJustSeen.com. There, you can get all things Just Seen. You want to add the So For Real series to your library? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to learn how to master the markets for serious trading and investing? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You want to get your hands on some exclusive merch like tees, hoodies, coffee mugs, hats, bags? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Are you thinking about transitioning into the plant-based lifestyle? Visit IamJustSeen.com. You ever want to just chat with Scene about anything from simple advice to mentorship? Visit IamJustSeen.com. Anything and everything that is me, you can find at IamJustSeen.com. So take a quick peek into my world to see why being just seen is nothing less but always more. Because you never really know what you need until you see it, and you will never see it unless you visit IamJustSeen.com. Welcome back. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and dive heavy into this motherfucker. So first off, you know what? I'm actually not going to start off with definitions this time. I feel like everybody should understand the definition and the distinction between hearing and listening, right? Hearing is a matter of how your sense has been appealed to. That's it. And you react to what you hear, right? Listening requires you to be silent, which is crazy because listen and silent are both, they have the same amount of letters, the anagrams of one another. But and then when you understand words, it's a lot more deeper than that. But listening requires, it's the art of understanding. Hearing just has to appeal to a sense. So we got to think about that, right? A lot of our conversations these days are motherfuckers hearing and reacting to what we're saying, not responding to what we said. They're reacting to what we say. This is largely why cancel culture works. Niggas don't listen. They hear and they react. You feel me? And hearing also can translate into, being on social media and not comprehending what you're saying. Now, here's what I mean by this. Here's why I'm saying this, and this is important, because if you do not have the understanding that I have, no matter what I tell you, you can't listen to it. You can only hear me and choose to react. And this is what I'm saying. Like, I had to come to terms with my understanding of this and my capacity to this when I started to understand. I used to get mad and disrespected low key when people used to be like, yo, you're so articulate. I know now that I can't, because it's like, I'm articulate because I can listen. You feel me? It's like I'm able to process everything that I hear correctly. And the way that I hear it, it's like now, because of that, I'm able to actually have a different level of experience and a different level of, I guess, vocabulary, jargon, whatever, to express exactly what it is that I'm talking about. Everybody doesn't have that. And this is not a point of everybody slow or no shit. Like, everybody just doesn't make the choice to do that. No funny shit, but they say after college, I think, what is it? After college, like 75% of the people who graduate from college never read another book again. The reason why that's important is because reading books is where you learn your vocabulary, where you learn to identify. Now, that makes me wonder, because as I listen to people, they're like, they will not understand certain words that I say, or they will not understand certain concepts that I bring up, but they still respond to what I said, and they can only respond to what they've heard and were able to recognize. That shows power, because let's look at a sentence. I'm just keeping this on a basic level, and we're going to multiply it to see the importance of listening and how it goes to understanding. And it ties into reading comprehension too. But when we are looking at it, let's look at a sentence, because that's what a conversation is, various sentences that we speak. So if we look at one conversation, let's say it has 7 words in it. Of those 7 words, you only recognize 4, right? Out of those 7 words, you only recognize 4. That means you don't recognize 3. That literally means it's just over 50% of that conversation. You only understand just over 50% of that conversation, of that sentence. You dig what I mean? When that sentence becomes a paragraph, and let's keep it on the 7, you feel me? Now it starts to add up. Now you're only understanding just over 50% of the paragraph. Multiply the paragraphs into an actual essay and everything. And now you only understand 50% of the entire essay or topic. What do you think conversations are? The essays, dissertations, and shit. Now, if somebody's speaking to you in a way in which you don't understand the vocabulary, you can only hear to respond. And in that sentence with those 7 words, you can only respond out of the 4 words that you heard and you understood. So when you heard it, you reacted now because I literally don't understand the remaining 3. Now, here's why this is a problem, because so many times we have conversations where we never understood what was being said. We heard the motherfucker and we responded based off of important words that we have recognized. You feel me? Like, for example, I've been studying, y'all know I study all kinds of shit, but lately I've been studying the Emerald tablets. And this is kind of where the conversation came in, because I was discussing the Emerald tablets with somebody and they were like, what they were responding to, I'm like, you don't know shit about the Emerald tablets, but you're only able to recognize like emerald green, like certain things is like, but what else goes into it? So as I'm trying to like talk to the person about it, they're just responding, having conversation with me. It's like, what? They're like, this is what you said. I know, but that's not what, but I'm trying to, in my mind, process why they confused. Cause it's like, I'm like, you can't possibly have the information. You can't possibly have the content. You can't possibly know what it is that I'm talking about. And then it was like, it got to a point where it was, all right, I just don't get it. Why didn't you say that? Because we live in a competitive society, so people hate to look stupid. Like, and when somebody knows what you don't know in a society that is competitive, you don't know whether or not they're collaborative or not. But if you base your reality off them being competitive, you're going to approach the situation like they're competitive. So you're not going to act like, yo, I don't know what I'm talking about. Teach me. So I know a little something about that. Let me go in. Case in point, had a conversation with one of my cousins one time. I keep quiet about the shit that I know because I have a different level of understanding with the shit. And I know where some people are on one level where, and me and him were the same age. So we was talking about some shit. And when the conversation flows, I flow. So he like, yo, Ray, I ain't know you was woke a little bit. A little bit. All right, bro, whatever. I was like, yeah, I dabble a little bit. So I got excited because we started talking about, and I'm like, dude, that's not like, you got to go deeper than that. Like, I get it. I get where you are, but I'm telling you, you got to go deeper to understand what it is that I'm talking about. Because then it gets to a point, I've noticed that when people don't, and that's one of the biggest barriers of communication. We don't understand what the fuck we don't understand what the other person is saying. You feel me? And it's not a discrepancy. We choose not to. We just don't have the intellectual capacity to understand what somebody's saying. It's not calling them stupid. It's just we don't put the necessary effort to actually be able to listen to somebody, only to hear them. You dig what I mean? That's crazy. Like literally most of our conversations are like that because the society is built that way. We're not built to converse. We're built to debate. So I'm not hearing to listen to you. I'm hearing to react. I want certain points that you said and I'm going to contradict that or I'm going to try to make it like, you feel me? Political parties do it all the time. You're going to watch a debate. You're going to watch 2 motherfuckers hear each other and respond and react. You're not going to act like, because if motherfuckers was literally listening, they would actually work together, not against each other. You dig what I mean? But that shows the power of listening. You feel me? I got the 4-part series on the mind: belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? If listening is the art of understanding. That means before you can have art, you need the science, and vice versa. Before you can have science, you need art. One, like thing I like about art and science, and I love this metaphor. Art is all artists are scientists, and all scientists are artists, right? The art is the creativity that you develop, you know, with your science, right? The science is the art. No, the science is the fundamentals broken down from your art, right? Some people learn the art first and then go back and do the science, whether they know it or not. Some people do the science first and then go and do the art. The reason why life is kind of fucked up because we don't understand the science. So the art of listening, the art of understanding is listening. So to get to the science of understanding first, you have to go belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. So imagine you're having a conversation. This is why I would say you got to be careful talking what you believe with what somebody understands and vice versa, because neither one of y'all are listening. Or you may be listening and they're only hearing you and you think they're listening. Y'all have hour-long conversations and nobody listen to each other. You feel me? I see it all the time when we look at relationships. We call it red flags all after the fact, but a motherfucker tells you who you are. You just didn't listen because you believed and you didn't understand what was being shown or said to you. You believe that, nah, this ain't you. This ain't you. That is me. I'm telling you that's me. You don't want it to be me, but I'm telling you this is me. Listen to what I'm telling you. Understand. Like, put some art behind what you're understanding. That raises different levels. You feel me? This episode is literally changing my perspective on humanity in a better way, because now I can be more patient with humanity, because I've always had this complex. And I don't know if this is a younger thing, but I know a lot of younger siblings, people who were the youngest, we share this trait. And that's assuming everybody knows more than us, because we've always been taught and treated that everybody knows more than us. So if you've already been programmed to believe that everybody knows more than you, there's no limitation to what you can converse about. I had to come to terms with that as I got older. Motherfuckers can hear me, but motherfuckers couldn't listen. And I never understood that. Like, now it makes sense. Like, when I was young, like, I used to always say something. Like, my mama would say some shit. She'd be like, "Did you hear me?" "Yeah, I heard you." Then she would double back. "But are you listening to me?" She knew I wasn't listening. She'd tell me to do something midway playing a video game. I wasn't listening. I heard what you said so I could react, but my focus on this video game won't allow me to understand or even make art of the understanding of what you're saying. So I can't listen to you. I'm not listening to you. I just heard you. Now, the thing about being heard is that you can still function viably off of just what you hear. You feel me? Too bad most of reality is like that. I had niggas used to come up and say, "Yo, I heard you wanted to fight me. Did you listen to me say that I wanted to fight you though?" Because I'm like, "Yo, listen to what I'm telling you now. If I wanted to fight you, we would have fought a long time ago." There's no, you feel me? Like, I don't want you to feel like because you're coming up to me and you heard some shit, I'm telling you what you should have listened to. You feel me? And you're not listening to the right shit right now because you're hearing what other motherfuckers are saying. This ain't what you want, but you feel me? You should listen. You feel me? Because other shit comes with certain things. But keeping it out of some street shit, but keeping it back into the conversation of actually just listening, right? How much can we really process if we can't understand? But then now here comes the battle, because nothing slips past our subconscious and unconscious minds, only the conscious mind. The conscious mind is where vocabulary is. The conscious mind is where the things are that we use to filter out the levels to get to understanding, to where we can actually listen to some shit. This is why when people talk, you should pause. That's the real time you should pause. Like, I feel like, I don't know, when somebody says some supposedly sus shit, like, no, start saying after you utter a whole sentence, say pause. So that motherfucker can have time to process it, because motherfuckers literally just, "Yo, this is what you said." People love to bank on what you said and fail to get to what I listened to. You feel me? So this is why you have to be articulate, because it's like, I have to say certain things exact ways. And it's like, if I didn't say it that exact way, oh, well, this is what you said. Now, here's what you didn't listen to. And now here's what you can't listen to. Because you legit can't hear what the fuck I'm saying. You feel me? Now, this is why it's important not to use those words interchangeably. Because although I did just say you can't hear what I'm saying, I really meant that you're not listening to me. I look back to when I was in high school one time, and I look at how easy it is for somebody to get ignored. And I listened to this guy one time. We was telling sex stories. High school, we shouldn't have been doing this shit, but we was telling sex stories in my drafting class. This guy was a senior. He played football, but he was a nobody. Not in a disrespectful way, but he was literally a nobody. Like nobody really knew him. But because he played football, he felt like, he was a senior. It was like, but dude, nobody knew who you freshman, like, there, you know what I mean? But so and it's like, at the time, I think I was a sophomore, and one of my other homies was a junior and shit. But like, we were known motherfuckers. People like fuck with us on some shit. So as the conversation goes, you can tell who's a conversation commander, who's not. So midway through the conversation, you know how when the conversation is flowing, you talking about, so everybody just throw out what they want. But the person who wants to throw it out but can't, he tries to find his place in, he or she. So this particular dude was like, yo, listen. And it was just like, damn, bro, you got to tell that story that bad? Just say it. But he needed us to listen. And it took me back because I started thinking about, he didn't want us to just be heard. Like, he was like, yo, do you hear me? It was, yo, listen, stop what you're doing. Practice your art of understanding what it is that I'm saying. This is important because children are not listened to. And it's wild because children are to be seen and not heard. We program for that. Everybody knows that. Children are to be seen and not heard. If you're not heard, you damn sure not listened to. Which makes shit even more difficult, which makes shit even more worse for you as a child, because you eventually shut up and shut down when you're not listened to. Now, here's why that's problematic, because a child's vocabulary is limited. The child can't articulate the exact things that they want to say. So the parent only listens, or anybody only listens to the limited amount of information that is presented. And they make decisions off of that. And the child's like, you're not listening to me. And it's like, I am listening to you. You said, I know what I said. Now the child is in a pickle because it's like, I did say that, but that's not what you were supposed to understand. That's not what I meant. Countless times I heard that. I even used it against women sometimes when I was young. They be like, that's not what I meant. But I'm like, but that's what you said. But that's not what I meant. But that's what you said. Low-key, I didn't know that was gaslighting. I didn't know that was gaslighting in a sense, because it's like, I'm telling you what you meant. And it's like, yo, that's what you heard. And it's like, but that's not what I meant. Well, what I said, well, why didn't you say what you mean? Now you can argue that. And it's like, I get it. That is a valid point. Everybody can't say what they mean, because saying what you mean is a matter of articulation, is a matter of vocabulary and understanding of vocabulary and experience. Some people don't have the experience to articulate what they're saying, which means that they don't have the words to get you to listen to them. They only have the responses to make you hear them. You feel me? You got to actually sit back and process what I'm saying. Listen to me. That's wild. That's wild. Because when we look at how much when we listen to the conversations we have with people, how many conversations do we actually listen to? I be having conversations with people, and they be like, yo, we have real deep conversations, or whatever the case may be. And it's like, but we keep bouncing around, jumping and shit. Like, because I know where your limits run out. I can tell by what you hear and what you respond to. One thing that I've truly learned to really accept is, when I'm speaking to people, I have to realize they don't have the understanding that I have. Therefore, they can't listen how I listen. So I shouldn't expect people to listen how I listen. So many people used to tell me, They tell me all the time, like, especially the people that I do my sessions with, they be like, yo, you're such a great listener. Most people don't listen to me, or people don't know. People, they hear you, but they can't listen. The shit that you talking about, they never experienced it. They don't have the vocabulary to dissect what you're saying. That's not nothing wrong with them or the situation, but you need to understand that that's what you're dealing with most times. Because we got to look at this. Like, sometimes I go over the reviews in my books, and one of the reviews of Soferel was like, it was Soferel 2. They were like, it's a lot of gems, and I learned words that I never knew before. I was like, you learn new words from me. So now, like, that was hindsight, but now I'm looking at it now, and it's like, wow, if you learned a new word, like, did you understand where that word was placed? Did you understand that whole sentence of where that word was placed? Because see, what they do in school, they teach us context clues. They don't teach us to go and seek a definition. I remember when the shit stopped, like, you feel me? There was a time when you would have, like, they would teach you to buy a dictionary for school. You feel me? They never told us what to do with the dictionaries. They never told, I mean, yeah, we have vocabulary words, but they never told us when you're reading a book and you don't understand the word, stop reading, look up that word, then reread that sentence with the understanding of that word. So you understand what the sentence is saying. They tell us to use context clues. Why? Because it doesn't give us the moment to stop, to understand what is being said, and to listen. Listening doesn't necessarily require your ears alone. It requires you to understand what you're saying, what you hear, right? So when we're using context clues of a word, and we have to go back and say, the sentence said blah blah blah, and it's like, I still don't know what this word means. So now when I see that word again in another sentence, I still don't know what it means. But I'm gonna base what it means off of the context in which I've seen it from a previous one. This is why people love to say, oh, you can take that out of context. Nobody knows what the context is because you need understanding to have the proper context. Without understanding, context is perception. And we know perception is reality. Shit's wild. So that means you never really listen to what is being told to you, or you never really listen to what, sometimes you don't even listen to yourself. Like when people ask, do you hear yourself? And you be like, yeah, I hear myself, but are you listening to what the fuck you're saying? I remember when I was in middle school, I had a teacher who used to laugh at these white kids, right? He used to laugh to their face, right? Because he was Italian. I said, nigga, you white too. I ain't white, I'm Italian. All right, whatever, bro. You Caucasian. But he used to laugh at the white kids. One in particular, because this white kid used to always try to, even in the 7th grade, he used to always try to use college words. And one day he said, dude, stop. You're not even using that right. He said, you always use these big words that sound smart and they be wrong. And I'm like, damn. But that lets me know nobody could correct him on being wrong because we couldn't listen. We didn't know those words. We didn't know the words he was using. So he did sound smart. You know how many motherfuckers use words you don't know and they just sound smart? It's purposely designed like that so you can't listen to them. This is why professionalism is what it is. This is how that white coat shit works. This is why medical science is in Latin. I don't want you to listen. I want you to hear everything that I'm saying, but I don't want you to listen to me. Because when you listen, that means you understand what I'm talking about. You feel me? Oh, you have a myocardial infarction. Did you hear what I said? Okay. And then they leave. They don't ask you, could you process what I'm saying? And the arrogance and the ego of a person not wanting to look stupid will say, I get you. Myocardial infarction. What is it? It's basically a heart attack. No, break it down. The myo is muscle. The cardi is the heart. You know what I'm saying? Suffix, means heart root. And then infarction is a disruption, right? Why couldn't you just say heart attack? That's purposely designed. Like, if you knew the motherfucker had a heart attack, why wouldn't you just say, hey, yo, you had a heart attack? Why would you come in and say, it's a myocardial infarction? What's that? Basically, it is a heart attack. I'm already confused. I don't listen. I'm not listening to anything else you say after that. I can only hear and respond. That's the power of these words. That's the power of lacking the understanding. You can't listen to me. And if I'm talking a certain way and you can't catch up with the words, I've lost you a long time ago. Now you can only hear and react to the things you know. I never really caught that until like I will be having conversations with people and they just get real quiet. And then I'll pause and be like, and then I'm waiting for them to respond. And then they're not. And it's like, oh, you couldn't listen to me. That's why you're not responding. Wow. You can't listen because you're not understanding what I'm saying, because it goes back to the metaphor of a sentence. The shit that I'm saying, you're not connecting the pieces. Only certain pieces hit because you don't have the vocabulary or the experience to know what I'm talking about. And when I say vocabulary, I'm not necessarily saying big words. Sometimes it's the contextualization of certain words. You feel what I'm saying? For example, I could use the word race and be talking about a race. I could be talking about genetics. I could talk about multiple things. That's where the context comes in. You feel me? But if I don't even understand the context, or the context changes, for example, I could say, hmm, I don't know whether the weather will be good or bad tonight. And then I can ask you to spell weather. And then you say which weather, the one in the sentence. They're both in the sentence. So should I spell WEATHER or WHETHER? Weather or weather, same word. That's why this English language is that potent and that powerful, because it's designed to make sure you can't listen. I told y'all I was giving y'all all the game. This language is designed so you can't listen, only hear. Look at how people react. Look at the podcast space. Look at all these things. Like, I don't know if y'all remember. I had a conversation where the person could only hear what I was saying. Like, on here, she could hear me, but she wasn't listening. Because I'm like, yo, I'm trying to tell her some shit. I'm like, yo, this is what you said. But when I realized, like, this is what I was able to listen to. So now it's like you're using, and then now I'm telling you what you said and what I was able to listen to. So I'm mirroring it back, and you're telling me that's not what you said. That means you don't even understand what message you just gave me, because you're hearing to react. Whatever I said, you reacted so we can keep this conversation going. Now the conversation ain't going where it's supposed to go. Conversations are not supposed to bounce around. Like, I get it. People say, when the conversation is good, we talk about multiple things. Yes, let the segues happen. But when instantly I'm talking about this and we have to shift the conversation, what you heard means that you have to go to this database with it. That's wild. So now this is how you react. Me personally, I'm not absolving myself and saying I'm an active listener all the fucking time. I get those moments where I hear, but now sometimes I even hear to react. But because of the way in which my listening is already set up, it makes it easier for even what I hear, I can respond. I can react the way that suffices. But I really had to sit and learn to listen. It's like, I got to understand what words you're telling me. There's deep levels to this shit. When I look at some of the women that I've involved myself with, the ones that are like, quote unquote, the ones that are feel indebted to me, they are the ones who I listen to. And not just listen to her. I was like, yo, you actually listen to me. And it's crazy because it makes sense when people say, I feel heard. You don't feel heard, you feel understood. Because to feel heard means that what you said, I can mirror back to you. You feel me? There's times I'm not listening to a motherfucker and they be like, you're not even listening to me. I am. And I repeat back exactly what they say. They shut the fuck up because they think, oh, yeah, you heard me. So you did listen to me. I just told you exactly what you just told me. Anybody could do that. But to listen is, yo, I can tell you the undertone of what it is that you told me. Because we got to think about it. We can only express to the capacity of the vocabulary that we have. You feel what I'm saying? This is why ignorance is so heavily promoted. Don't get to a point where people can listen to you. This is why music is what it is. They're like, yo, music is the only thing that we listen to. Oh, I want to hear in the beat. I want to listen. Nah, that's the only thing that we listen to, because we can control the music we listen to. So we know that when we listen to certain songs or certain artists, we understand every word that artist speaks, every way in which that artist is communicating their art. We know them. That's why we fuck with them. So we listen to certain genres. We listen to certain music because we can listen to that, because we have the capacity to understand it all. In the early 90s, well, we still do it now up until the 2000s, but whatever. They always got mad at black people for going to the quote unquote pop charts. Black people. Oh, nah, this motherfucker done went to the pop charts. You feel me? Can't support them no more. They went to the pop charts. Because now when you go to the pop charts, the music that you make, we can't listen to anymore. We can only hear it. We can only hear it. Because we're not in the popular culture. Not realizing that we control the popular culture. When we look at popular culture, it's always 10 to 5 years behind black people. We set the trends. We do this shit. But now, when we are in a space where our artistry is exploited. We can't like to go pop means that you basically means that you go appeal to the Caucasian people. That's why it's so stupid. It pisses me off when they be like, if you look at the record sales, Eminem is that like Eminem had a crutch. Imagine this. Imagine comparing the goats when they're not comparable. I'm not saying I would never say Eminem is a goat. Eminem could never be a goat in our culture. Yes, he can put words together, but you can only hear him rap. You can't listen to Eminem. I don't care what nobody says, and that's when people get on my nerves because I listen to music. Did you hear Rap God? He raps so fast. Okay, Bone Thugs and Harmony rap fast. Where did he get it from? Okay, you feel me? He sold more records. He had more audience. All of the suburban kids wanted to be black, and Eminem came in, it was so easy to snatch them little motherfuckers up. They didn't do it with Vanilla Ice. They did it with Eminem because Eminem made sure to attach itself to the black culture. You feel what I'm saying? The black culture couldn't attach themselves to Eminem though, but only a few were able to. Like, you feel what I'm saying? For example, Nelly went pop. But Nelly was one of the most like he went pop with a gangster pop song. Nobody caught it. I'm going down, down, baby. Yo Street in a Range Rover. Sweet sweeper, baby. Cocked, ready to let it go. Because most motherfuckers wasn't from the streets. They didn't know he was talking about doing a drive-by. Then he said, shimmy, shimmy, Cocoa Puff, pass it to me now. Light it up until he's talking about doing a drive-by and smoking some weed. In the culture, we knew it because we can listen, because we have the experience and the vocabulary to understand it. But for the pop audience, it was just a hit because we didn't know what was going on. Same shit with Lil Jon Get Low. These niggas didn't know skeet, skeet, skeet meant bust on a bitch. Being dramatic. Well, but they're like, oh, skeet, skeet, motherfucker. It's like, y'all, I'm editing the word skeet out. That means to nut on a motherfucker. Like, what you different? You couldn't hear it. So certain things slip through the cracks. So what I'm saying is, I tie that back into when we talking about Eminem, and it's like, yo, y'all don't listen to Eminem. Y'all hear him. You feel me? For Eminem, when I look at some of the Eminem bars, it's like, yo, tell me some of Eminem's iconic bars. You feel me? Eminem's bars can be heard. I can't deny that. Like when he said, when he was battling Nick Cannon, I can't know when he said, you let Mariah castrate you. He said, you let Mariah castrate you. Tell me that's not you, Nick. I was like, nigga. Because a eunuch is a castrated male. I said, yo, and then he said, you, Nick. Like his name is Nick Cannon. I said, yo, that's a bar. Some people didn't catch it if they didn't know what eunuch meant. They're like, I don't get it. You heard it, but you couldn't listen to it. Now, that's an actual layered bar. I get that, you feel me? But you can hear it. When 50 Cent says he got hit like I got hit, but he ain't fucking breathing. That didn't need no metaphor. That didn't need no punchline. That didn't need nothing. It was just like, feel me? I was watching the battle rap interview. If you watch battle rap, T-Rex. That nigga said, yo, they was talking about dude that snatched T-Rex chain or whatever. T-Rex was like, yo, he got away with it, but he didn't get away with it. And it's like, I get you. You said the same exact thing the same way, but I can listen and understand you not saying the same thing. But if you hear it, it's like, yo, he got away with it, but he ain't get away with it. What the fuck is you saying? Oh, nigga, he snatched your shit, but you made sure you got your shit back and he ain't get. Okay, I got you. You feel me? That's listening. It's the art of understanding, which means that it has to go through a process of belief, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. You feel what I'm saying? So tying that back in, when you say, when they're like, yo, we put Eminem at the top, you can't put him at the top of a culture. For one, he's not a part of. For two, he didn't create. And two, that we can't listen to Eminem. We can only hear him. You tell me right now what some of your hardest Eminem bars and how you understand. Like, I have no understanding for 50 Cent made the greatest example of the shit. He was comparing Pac and Eminem, not as rappers, but as songs to your mama. He was like, we look at Eminem and he's talking about I'm cleaning out my closet. We don't have that relationship with our mothers. We don't have that type of relationship. We can't listen to Eminem. We can hear him. It's like, damn, bro, like, you feel me? Cleaning out my closet. You feel me? Now, we listen to Dear Mama. And like, for example, so in in fucking cleaning out my closet, what he say? He said, I will never diss my own mother just to get recognition, but take a second to who you think this record is dissing and put yourself in my position in 73 before I ever had a multi-platinum selling CD. I was a baby, maybe I was just a couple of months. My faggot father must have a patent subject a bunch because he split. I wonder if he even kissed me goodbye. No, I don't. On second thought, I wished he would die. I was trying to get to the punchline that I was supposed to get to, but I said too much. But either way, in that, I had to realize I had to go through the whole verse to actually see what I was gonna. I still haven't got to the point because I'm still going. It's not shit to him, but it's like I can hear him, but it's like I can relate to, my father leaving or whatever the case may be. Like I can listen to that part, but it's like I don't have beef with my mama like that. Not the same beef you have. Eminem had a different beef with his mama. Now, when Pac says, I reminisce on the stress I caused, it was hell hugging on my mama from a jail cell. That hit different, especially if you've been to jail before. It's like, whew, seeing your mama cry like some that shit hit different. I can listen to that because I understand, nigga, where you coming from. Mama made miracles every Thanksgiving. That's not even a bar. That's just a statement. But it's like, she did. I can listen to that. You feel me? So 50's expression was like, he's like, we're not of the culture that Eminem came from, which is why he's speaking this. So I can't relate to that. But we get Tupac, it's different. He said, it's a tale of two mothers. On paper, when you think about it, we're both bad mothers in a sense. But Afeni wasn't labeled as a bad mother because of the circumstances. You feel me? For her to smoke crack and her to go through the things that she did when we knew that the government was trying to take us out. And then for the white privilege to just do it by choice, it hit different. It hit different. So we listen differently. You feel what I'm saying? So now when people ask me shit like, could you did like that love ain't love? Because with love comes correction. You have to understand me to even begin to correct me. If you cannot understand me in your correction, if you cannot understand me, your correction becomes control. You don't listen to what I say. You hear what I say to react a certain way to make things. That's how that professionalism shit works. Everybody I know told me, well, not everybody, a lot of people I know told me, oh, hitting the raw is not professional because I wasn't using medical terminology. For what? So you can't understand it? What good do, it makes so much sense when I hear Erykah Badu say, what good do your words do if they can't understand you? It's good for me to sound smart, sound intelligent, sound woke. I can do all that shit. But if you can't listen to me, what the fuck is the point? Y'all already know what's next. This is why I profane profanity. I know I'm a profound motherfucker. Just imagine if I gave y'all my profanity in a profound way. You can't listen to me. We are 250 something episodes plus in this motherfucker. Some of y'all have listened to every one of them. Motherfuckers who haven't made it this far, they can only hear what I was saying. So when the people say, oh, he cusses too much, he this, that, and the third, you have a certain palate that's digestible for you to hear. I'm gonna talk on digestion too. That's why this is important, how it ties to hearing and learning. But you can only hear certain words. The moment you hear shit, the moment you shut down, you can't listen anymore. These are the words that you can't listen to. You feel me? You use them when you get emotional, you get angry, but to hear somebody, oh yeah, you can't use that. You're not professional. Okay, that means you can't listen to me. I used to get upset when motherfuckers said I had to talk a certain way. I don't care. You need me to speak a certain way so you can listen. That has nothing to do with me. That has everything to do with your ability to understand the world. You feel me? You don't this is why I tell people you can't argue with what you understand versus what somebody believes. Like when people are telling me Forex is a scam. You know how hard it was for me to catch on that people were getting scammed in Forex? Every time I reached out to somebody, like I would make a post and I'd be like, if you want to learn Forex, DM me or whatever the case, because I thought that's, I didn't realize that that's what the scammers were doing too. So what people did, like, how much do I got to pay a month? Nothing. Wait, well, how much does it start an account? I think the minimum is 100. Like, but how much do I have to pay monthly? Nothing. I don't know I don't know. Ask your broker what I can't listen to them because I'm not understanding what they're saying. No, I'm understanding what they're saying through my lens. They're speaking what they're saying through their lens. They're speaking from the perspective of the scammers who present the shit to them versus a motherfucker who's done the game. And it's like, what the fuck is y'all talking about? Then one of my young bulls and shit, he was telling me, he was like, yeah, bro, I got burned by one of them MLMs. What you mean an MLM? He said, like the Telegram, man, you get in that motherfucker, you paying like $250 a month, and they just sending you alerts, and they not telling you how to do shit. Y'all is paying monthly for that? Wait, y'all. This segued into the Inflate with Inflation community low key because I was like, wait, y'all are willing to pay monthly to watch a motherfucker get. I said, would y'all really pay me monthly to watch me do it? Yeah, of course I would, bro. Why wouldn't I? Like, you know how to do it. If I'm like, wow, I'm not even gonna charge you that amount, and I'm really gonna teach you the game. That's a hustle. And I get why people stayed out of it. But when they were coming to me telling me Forex is a scam, I couldn't listen to it. You feel me? Now, here's another piece to that, because you know how many people feel like they're stubborn, or how many people think that's somebody they're talking to is stubborn, because you're not listening to me. I am listening to you. You're not accepting that I can go deeper than what you're saying. You're not accepting that I understand what you're talking about. So many people think that we have an ego about ourselves where it's like, yo, I'm the only one who knows this. You feel me? I had a organic chemistry class with a guy. I had no idea I was doing better than him in the class, because the way in which he presented, he was like, you feel me? If I didn't, I would say, I don't know about it. Oh, you don't know this? You don't know this? Where you been? Like, you don't know this? Like, all right, watch your tone, homie. Watch your motherfucking tone. Like, what you mean? You barely know it. Now, we had a little, now, because he was always being that motherfucker, like he was trying to be a condescending, arrogant asshole all the fucking time. And as a motherfucker who's get called a condescending, arrogant asshole who's really not, I take offense to that when I really see one. So it's like, he's talking and shit like he's giving a presentation about sickle cell. You can't talk to me about sickle cell. I don't have it. I have a little cousin who has, like, a first cousin who has sickle cell, and it used to bring me to tears to watch her go through a crisis. I used to stay up late, like I was 11. We're 2 years apart, so I'll be up. She would come spend the night, but then her crisis would kick in. You feel me? I had to be up with her. I never forget it. I'd microwave, like I wet a rag and microwave it for 10 seconds so it'll be hot. I lay it on her back so it'll soothe the pain or whatever the case may be, and I'll rub her back. Mind you, I'm 11 years old doing that shit. She's in pain. She's crying. There's nothing we can do. She can't, like, we can't take, like, I know now the shit that we can do, but at the time I didn't know. So I'm just I'm rubbing my cousin back, massaging her back, keeping up the towels. Like, it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm 11 years old doing this. So I have a different connection with sickle cell. It makes me understand sickle cell. So when you speak about sickle cell, I can listen to you. So he's rattling off facts, sickle cell, this, and this, that, and third, this, that, and third. So I asked him one simple question. I was like, so does the prothrombin, because he was talking about prothrombin or whatever the case may be. I said, does the prothrombin prevent the crisis? You feel me? He was like, you didn't think to look into that. You know why? Because you're trying to get people to hear you rather than trying to make yourself be understood so people can listen. So you have a limitation to what you're doing. So I'm asking him these questions, and he's like, why are you trying to be argumentative? No, I said, I'm not being argumentative. I know people with sickle cell, and I'm trying to learn more about it. If you're teaching this and you're giving your presentation on this, let me ask these questions. And then he shut down. Then it was like, from the same motherfucker who we in class and you say, you don't know this? I wanted to look so bad in his soul and just say, you don't know that? But I didn't. It was already evident what I was doing. I was being petty, but it's, don't play with me, bro. But at the same time, it's like, I never learned. When I learned to listen, I had to. Because you got to be able to understand everything that's being said to you. How many of us grew up as children who supposedly knew better, but didn't even understand what was being told to you? So you couldn't listen, possibly you only heard to respond. And what you heard, you knew that you're either going to get this response out of a parent or you're going to get that response out of a parent. We eventually go through life living like that. Hearing, and this is what I said I was going to circle back to. Hearing is a point of fight or flight response. Listening is a point of rest and digest response. Digesting being the operative point. When you listen, it is because you have digested what was said, processed it, assimilated, and now you can give it back. This is what I meant when I said the pause. There's no pause when you hear.
All you keep hearing is get into the markets. But do you trade or do you invest? Should you do stocks, Forex, crypto, or NFTs? My personal answer is not a single one if you don't know how to read a chart. Without knowing how to read a chart, you end up giving all your money to those who do. Do you know what a candle is? Do you know the pocket of activity? Do you know the difference between market direction and market control? If you answer no at least once, you might want to learn how to read a chart first. Learning how to read a chart will let you know if you should trade or invest and if you should do stocks, Forex, crypto, and or NFTs. It will also let you know if this is even for you or not. So visit IamJustSeen.com to learn how to read charts with my Mastering the Market course, ebooks, and webinars today. The world is changing. The question is, will you adapt with it?
You ever heard a conversation with motherfuckers that's just like, yo, they just talking, and it's like, bro, y'all, somebody has to breathe. Somebody has to stop. Somebody has to say, you feel me? I like having conversations with people where we actually have moments of silence. Silence is cool. Let it sit in it. It's okay, because we here to respond. We feel like we always have to fill the gap. When you listen, you know this gap doesn't need to be filled. This is a gap, a necessary gap. A lot of us hear, and then we tell people, oh, you don't listen to me, because now this is a problem that comes in because the parenting structure fucks up, because as you get older, you realize your parent didn't. It's hard to listen to somebody who doesn't understand what you're talking about. This is why I talk about reassurance versus advice. How you gonna give me advice on some shit you've never experienced? How can I listen to you? Because now when I'm telling you some shit, you can only hear what I'm saying. When I talk to people about day trading and investing and shit like that, I was just literally talking to a motherfucker a couple of days ago. And they, yo, I need another source of income or whatever the case may be. I say, yo, get into investing and trading. And I literally stopped talking after this because the person said, nah, see, I'm not trying to be only making $20 here, $20 there. Oh, okay. You're not going, you can't listen to me. You can't listen to me because I'm literally telling you that you should, like, I'm telling you to try something that I'm doing. And you're telling me that you don't want to go. I'm like, yo, you already have a certain perception. A perception which you have a perception, I have a perspective. If you read SOFR 3, you know the differences in the levels between the two. But perspective is a merging of opposite perceptions, right? But when we only have our perception, that's when we become blind to certain things. We gain perspective by being able to understand another person's perception. You feel me? Understanding opposite perceptions or differing perceptions, even the same perceptions, multiple perceptions, is how you gain perspective. You feel me? So as the person is like, yeah, because I'm not trying to be making no $20 here, and it's like I need to make bigger money. It's like, well, you can literally make what you want. It just depends on how much you're willing to put in. You feel me? And it's another thing. Everybody, well, I don't have $10, $20, $30,000 to put into the bank to only make 1,000. Nigga, neither do I, or did I? And I don't. It's like, what? I'm not putting that much money to make what? I said, if I have 30,000, if I got 30,000 sitting in this motherfucker, bro, understand I'm not coming out with anything less than 5 a trade, a movement, a day. You feel what I'm saying? Like, because I understand how to break this shit down a certain way. But now this is one of the things, like I was talking to one of the EWE students, and I don't usually share this, but I will now. I always use 90% of my equity. I know actual trading and investing teaches you, oh, you only want to use 1 to 2% of your equity. So now this is why when I tell people, like, for example, using 90% of my equity, let's say I hit a trade and I make $1,000 off of that using 90% of my equity, versus somebody's using 1 to 2% of the equity, making that same $1,000. I'm not trying to gloat. I'm not trying to brag, but who would you say is the better person? Who would you say is the more skilled player in that situation? The one who can leverage more and get the same result. You feel me? Is it safe? No, it's not safe. It's risky as shit. But this is why one of my themes is, with high risk comes high knowledge. There's not a thing about the markets I don't know. I get it. People, oh, well, you don't know about the technicals and shit, the certain terminology and shit. Like, I bet you can't nobody read it better than me, though. I may not know about P&E ratios. I may not know about the company CEO who he slept with or all of this shit. I may not know that this company's trying to merge with this one, but I can read these motherfucking charts and know that I don't give a fuck what the news or what these events are going to say. The larger players are going to make the decisions any fucking way. They make the niggas step down. They make the CEOs do this, and they've already planned it weeks in advance, days in advance. You're late by the time you hear about it. You dig what I'm saying? And that is because in the way in which I dissect the markets. Literally, it takes me 30 minutes to understand exactly how the money is going to flow across the world. I don't use indicators. I just do it. And one thing that I had to learn in learning that part was that when I explain that to people, they can only hear me. They can't actually listen to what it is that I'm saying because they don't have the information to listen to me. So when you come into the inflation community, I have to get you to the listening point. You can hear me all day long. You feel me? And that was something I had to learn with one of my first one-on-one students. She would hear me, but she wouldn't listen. She would hear that you can make money, but she wouldn't listen to what the process was. So every time, I always tell the story, these two stories, just to tell the two people. Every time I tell it, teach it back to me. I'm not sure about that. I'm not ready yet. I don't know. I'm not sure. So you're not paying attention to what the hell I'm saying. Okay, cool. I let it go. Other one-on-one student, teach it back to me. Okay, bro, if you hit this, you're going to watch out for this point because this right here, every single point. When you can start to tell me back and you can teach it back to me, you know what you're doing. You've listened to me. If you can't give me back what I'm saying, you only heard me. I know when people hear me because they ask me questions and shit. I've seen this with one-on-ones. They be like, I ask them a question and they be like, is that right? You tell me. I'm not going to confirm if it's right for you. You tell me if it's right. Because I'm giving you all of the information, but I can't make you understand it. I can't give you what it's going to take to listen. You feel me? Like when I talk about an antithesis, I tell people, yo, I'm an antithetical scholar. Sounds like, oh, it's some mystical shit. No, it's not. It's just a motherfucker who studies both sides of a story. You feel me? I'm going to listen about the God. I'm going to listen about the devil. I'm going to listen about the good side. I'm going to listen about the bad side. And I'm going to find the truth in the middle. You feel me? But when I tell people in order to be successful and use your mind correctly, you have to be an antithetical scholar. It's like, if you don't know what that antithesis is, it's like, wow, I don't know what that means. So I can only hear what you do. Oh, so and that's all it is. Yeah. You know how much shit we're left out of because we can't listen? Because when we hear it, we don't know how to react to the word or react to the information because we can't listen to it to understand what's being said. You feel me? When people be like, yo, such and such certain scam the community or whatever case may be, they didn't. They only fuck with people who can hear it. They didn't fuck with listeners. You feel me? When people hit me up, yo, you want to join my Telegram? Fuck no. You want to join my iwi? I bet you you'll get more out of iwi than I get out of your Telegram. No, I'm trying to market to you. This like I don't need you to market to me. I do this. Fuck your monthly subscription. You feel me? But it's because of the world we live in. The world that we live in is designed and it's largely made to make us feel as if we have to react all the time because we're in a fight or flight response. Goes back to what I was saying about rest and digest. In order to listen, you have to be in a digestible state. Most of us right now, if you're listening to this podcast episode, is your tongue at the top of your mouth? Drop it. Are your shoulders high? Drop them. Is your forehead scrunched up? Release it. If everything I just described, you feeling that you're in a state of survival, you are in fight or flight response at all times. They call it rest and bitch face. You're not in rest and bitch face. You're focused because you're in fight or flight mode, which means that throughout life, all you can do is hear. You have to be in a space to rest and digest. This is why meditation and reading is hard for people. You literally have to stop everything you're doing be still. You feel me? Be still and hear the silence. This is what I was saying. It's an anagram. Listen and silence is an anagram for each other. You rearrange the words of listen, you get silent. Rearrange the word of silent, you get listen. You got to be silent to listen. Silence is the loudest thing you'll never hear. Yes, that made absolute sense. I didn't fuck that up. Silence is the loudest thing you never hear. It's not until you actually sit in silence you realize how silence is. That's why, again, meditation and reading are hard. And meditation is even harder than reading because at least reading, you have a stimuli by reading the words. But when you're reading the words, that's the purpose of the vocabulary and everything. When people, I hear people ask me like, yo, how do you, like every time I read, I end up having to read a paragraph over again. It's like, yo, how do you get straight through? Because I understand every word that I'm reading. And when I don't understand a word, I stop right there. I reread that word and I look up the definition and the etymology and I continue reading the word. They teach us to use context clues and keeps going. If the context clues, like we do this all on the fly and we don't realize it because we're so programmed to do it. As we're reading it, if we don't understand the word, we skip over it and just automatically try to make the context clues what we want it to be. And that necessarily isn't what it means, but we keep reading. And the more words that we hit out of the sentence, tying it back into the 7 sentences and the 4, the more words that we don't know, the less and less attentive we are. Oh, you have ADHD. I don't have ADHD. I have a problem listening because I am not at the point of understanding. They want us to hear and believe immediately, and they can't get it. Like, imagine you have to go through 4 phases of the mind. You're supposed to believe and trust that your teacher told you the right information without understanding, and you keep going on. Nobody has understanding about anything that we go through because we haven't sat with it long enough to gain the understanding. So therefore, we never listened in class. He has difficulty listening. I don't have a problem hearing you. I have a difficulty listening because this isn't the way in which my brain is supposed to process this. So now we have the 4 levels of the mind: belief, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We have 7 intelligences. The education system is only based off of 1. You damn right I'm gonna have a difficulty listening. If I have an interpersonal intelligence and you're trying to teach me logistically, I can't learn logistically. So it doesn't matter what words you give me, doesn't matter what you say or anything like that. I need to be moving or I need to be making sounds to make, you know what I'm saying? There's certain things that I have to be doing in order to learn correctly. But you're forcing me to learn your way. And yes, that's going to make me look stupid. It's going to make me look like I can't pay attention because I cannot listen to you. Listening is the art of understanding. And before the art, you need to have the science of understanding, which means you have to go through the 4 levels of the mind. So I have to understand my natural intelligence and then filter belief, knowledge, wisdom, understanding with that to get to the point to be able to listen to you. You don't have to tell somebody to be quiet when they can listen. Sit with that shit. Sit with that. You do not have to tell people to be quiet when they know how to listen. You only have to tell people to shh and be quiet when they don't know how to listen. Children don't know how to listen, and we based our reality off of behavior rather than being. We don't teach them how to be listeners. We teach them how to behave quietly. So you are practicing restraint rather than naturally saying, I have to listen. Because now, if you pay attention, when children get quiet, they're listening for one. But you ever, like, you all in my mouth. I used to hear it when I was young. I was nosy as shit. I ain't gonna hold you. Whenever my mom was on the phone with her friends, gossiping and shit, doing what they do, you know how women do with their friends. I will be all, get out my mouth. I'm not in your mouth. What are you talking about? I'm listening to what you're saying. That's get out my mouth. But it's, you would sit. I'm just pay attention. I will be the fuck quiet and the whole attentive because I'm able to listen because you're using vocabulary that I understand. You're using experience that I understand. I remember when I was with you when you was at church talking about this. I was with you at this particular point. So I understand and I'm able to listen. When we take that back to the school system, you there to learn. I can't learn if I can't listen, and I can't listen if I don't know the capacity to understand. We're designed to fucking fail in this shit, y'all. This is why prisons are built by 3rd grade test scores. I know if you can listen or not. If your reading comprehension is trash, if your certain skills if you can't read, everything else fumbles. Because now you can't comprehend. If you can't comprehend, you can't listen. That's why I used to get mad. If you notice, my captions have gotten short. I don't do the caption shit no more. Like, because Motherfuckers be reading the shit and it's like, that's not what the fuck I said. Like, what do you mean? And I used to get mad at it. It's like, yo, people aren't understanding me. Now I don't get mad. It's like, yo, you can't listen to me. I know you can't. I'm using words you don't understand. I always know this shit. Whenever I used to hate this shit, but I get it. Whenever you on your pro-black shit or whatever the case may be, first thing you say, once you, oh, using the big words are trying to confuse us. No, bitch, you confused. That's not on everybody else. Just because you can't listen to the shit, don't mean you should group the whole community as ignorant. Like, no, fuck that. Like, you can't say, oh yeah, you're trying to use them big words, college words. Okay, cool. When you understand college words, you understand the spell. Every college student, every person, every black person that's gone through academia, they come to terms with the reality. They were never as smart as we thought they were. I know. We sought a level of understanding because we knew we had to listen. You feel me? Now, listening, it entails you actually sitting, shutting the fuck up, and being able to process through all phases of the mind the information you're getting. You can't process that in a single conversation. So you got to shut the fuck up. I have conversations with people and they be like, yo, why are you so quiet? I'm listening. And they be thinking I'm just like behaving. And like I say, when you don't understand the difference between, you don't have to tell somebody to be quiet when they know how to listen. Think about it yourself. When you are really listening to some shit that you understand, you shut the fuck up by yourself. You don't have to sit still. You don't have to be told to calm down. You will shut the fuck up yourself. Why? Because you understand what's being said. When you don't understand what's being said and you can only hear, now you have to hear buzzwords. This is why the podcast game is what it is. None of these people on these episodes are listening to each other. They're hearing each other and responding. You feel me? And they're staying in the same space of what they only know how to understand. Some of these dudes on these podcasts only understand women in a negative capacity. It don't matter how good of a woman you think you are, they can't hear you. And my brother, same way. Some of y'all are naturally good people. You feel me? Y'all are good men or whatever the case may be, but they can't listen to you because they can only hear bad shit. They can't listen to what it is they can't listen to the traits of what a good man is because they only can hear what a bad man is. I don't want a fuck boy. Yes, you do. Because you damn sure can't listen to a good man. You can only hear fuck boys. And you're only willing to listen to fuck boys. That's crazy. That's crazy. But that's programming. You feel me? That's programming. And if we can take the programming back into our hands, we change the programming simply by learning how to listen. You feel me? Paying attention to vocabulary, understanding the words that we're getting, and actually sitting and digesting it. So when you're having a conversation with somebody, you can listen. You feel me? People be thinking I know a lot because I'm trying to stand like, no, I want to be in the space. For one, I don't want nobody to have more knowledge than me in the sense that I don't want you to have more power than me because he or she who has more knowledge has more power. But the more knowledge I have, the better I'm able to listen to motherfuckers. When I started actually listening to women, of course, my pussy rate went up. I was too young to be listening to women that intently, but you feel me? Older women, younger women, it doesn't matter. Like, this is how I be getting my cougars. Well, I don't get them anymore because I'm not a cougar chaser. But when I was in my cougar phase, right? This is how I got the cougars. They would always tell me shit like, yo, you're too young to be this ahead of your time. No, I just listen. Old heads were never taught to listen. They were taught to get pussy. I know because my generation still wasn't taught to listen. We were taught to get pussy. I just happened to say, you know what? I might get more pussy if I listen. I know, savage. But in real shit, I might get more pussy if I listen. And I did get more pussy when I listened. But in listening, I was like, damn, bro, you ain't just pussy. Like, you a human. You've gone through some shit. I've gone through some shit. Damn, y'all are dope beings. And I really started liking women. Because I listened to them, because I learned to understand them. You feel what I'm saying? Pink tax. I would have never known about pink tax if I wouldn't have been listening to women. I had to sit and listen and say, yo, a pink tax? Now, I was able to understand because as they're explaining the pink, I may have not have heard about a pink tax, but I would pay attention to, they hike the prices up. This is why women let razors. And I would remember seeing, damn, women razors do cost more than men razors. I can listen because I've seen and I've experienced what you heard, what you said. When I don't know shit about shit, bro, that shit don't mean shit. It's just like it is what it is. Like, and then now I can only hear to react. You feel me? So now, in hearing to react, this is one of the reasons why we don't know how to be there for people. We don't know how to have empathy. First thing you do is when somebody presents sadness to you, you have to deflect it. Oh, it'll be okay. That's why I hate cliches like he don't make no mistakes. The Lord works in mysterious ways. He gives the strongest battles to his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers. Everybody's going through something. And my favorite, that is actually the worst, is when people say, there's always somebody going through something worse. Nigga, don't diminish my pain because you can't listen to me. You hear me and you don't want to hear this pain. So you don't know how to react and you don't want to react to my pain. So you want to stop it as opposed to listening. I remember one time I listened to a woman who had an abortion. It hit different because when I was hearing women talk about abortions, yeah, you know, give me a plan B or motherfucking, I don't care. Like, you feel me? I done terminate 3 or 4 of them. They don't care. And it's like, but hearing listening to somebody who talks about, yeah, sometimes I hear the baby crying. And it's like, I've never heard the baby before. So it's just what I feel the baby should cry like. Or I wake up and I feel bad about myself because of these particular things. And like, I'm listening to this person and I can hear better. Because it's like, now I'm not reacting. I'm just listening. It's like, oh, why are you quiet? Am I overloading you? Nah, I'm just listening to you. I'm understanding what it is you're saying. You're making a lot more sense. This helped me listening rather than hearing. Helped me with my relationship with my dad. You feel me? Because before I would just hear him. Yeah, bro, I wasn't there. Bitch, I know that, nigga, and I don't want to hear you no more. But when I listen to him, it don't justify none of the shit that he did. But when I listened to him, I said, I can't be mad at you. You would have did it anyway. Nigga, this you as a person. You feel me? You're flighty as a person. It was easily going to translate as a father. Like when situations like hearing conversations like, yeah, the white man won't let me have this white man. I could see why when shit gets hard, you run away. You don't even feel like you're supposed to have stake in this earth. I get it. Doesn't change shit, but now I get it. You feel me? Certain experiences with like when I took my trip back to California, and then I went back and like seen the living conditions that I was in and the shit that I overlooked when I was a kid and all this other shit. It's like I had a different respect for my mama. Now when she talks, I can listen to her. When she says things like, yo, I did the best that I could. I'm like, you right. You right. We were not supposed to make it. Like I'm like, when I really put shit on paper, when I really look at it, like there's like my mama's the GOAT. My mama's the GOAT. There's no ifs, ands, maybes, questions, sidebars, and none of that shit about it. Like she kept 3 kids together when CPS would have took us. When I look at where we were, like CPS literally would have took us. They were supposed to come and take us. She kept us all together. You feel me? She did what she had to do the best way that she could. And in listening to it, I can hear a person telling me what they did with their children as opposed to my mother, as opposed to hearing what my mother was not supposed to be doing. You feel me? Lord forgive me, I never would have made it without sin. Sometimes you got to go and do, like my mama never did no drugs or no prostitution or crazy shit like that. But we still grew up in poverty. We still grew up in fucked up situations and conditions that no person, a single person with no kids should not even been in those conditions and would not have survived them. My mama did it with 3 kids. We still went to school with the flyest clothes. Luckily, we had uniforms when I was in California, but had the flyest shoes. You feel me? Like Christmas, we got bikes. Like we kept up with everybody. I don't know how. So when Pac says mama made miracles every Thanksgiving, right? I know I'm not talking about Thanksgiving, but it's like, yeah, I can listen to that. You feel me? But then when I understand her as the person, now when she talks about her as a parent, I can listen. If I'm not listening to her as the parent if I'm not listening to her as the person when she's talking as the parent, it's hard to shut down because children, we have this internalization. Our parents are perfect. They lead us to believe we're perfect, but they don't want us to show us in their bad side. They teach us to behave good and shit. We know better. They don't teach us to be human. So we hold them to a certain standard and we forget the person. Because we're busy trying to erase the persons that the little people that we are to become somebody and have a title, whether it be the child, the whatever. Everything is about titles rather than about essence. You feel me? So when you listen into this shit and you're able to listen to a person, their title is filtered differently. You dig what I'm saying? It's a whole different dynamic when you looking at the person who's, yo, I'm in this space because of the things in which in life that I went through. And it's like, now this is how I have to respond. You feel what I'm saying? It's different. It's different when you can actually listen to a person because you see the person and their title is no longer, but sometimes our titles will make us only hear what we're supposed to hear. You feel me? As a parent, she was supposed to do right. As a mother, you were supposed to never fuck up, ever. But as a human, wow. That when I looked at her as the person, filtered through the title, I was like, you's a bad motherfucker. As a mother, very problematic. It's like on a mother level, it's like, yo, that's some toxic shit. That's fucked up. It's like, okay, bam, you yelled, you feel me, you argue, you whoop me and shit. Like, you feel me? And it's like, yo, I get it though. Take all of that shit away. Cause it's like you don't want to go through that as a parent, but it's like, as a person, this is still no justification. But as a person, it's like you had fears, you had doubts. These are things that I didn't consider. My mom was, when we grew up, we was in California. When I grew up, I was in California for the first 9 years of my life. My mama grew up in Southside Jamaica, New York. She has 10 siblings between North Carolina and right now they're between North Carolina, Jersey, and New York, right? Everybody's East Coast. My dad's side of the family, all in North Carolina. Except for the family we went to move with in California, who happen to be, West Coast. That's a little bit of them, but that's not my mom's side of the family. That's my dad's side of the family. Technically, she's with family that is a +1 on the invitation. When she talks now, I listen differently. I don't just hear her. I don't just hear my mother. I listen to the person who literally had to make the decision because they couldn't go to their family. They had to go to a whole other side of the country alone with the 3 children. One is in diapers. I was 4 months old. I have a different respect. Certain shit, I just have to, like, certain shit, when you have understanding, emotion doesn't even come in. Your feelings aren't even stirred up by certain shit. You feel me? Like when, the tradition of your mother wasn't there for a reason. My mother wasn't there. We stayed together. And for me, there's always a justification as to why, like, the pain, whether it hurt or not, I can understand the pain. So when somebody talks, I can listen to them now. Now that translates from my sessions. When I translate to people, they be like, yo, you're such a good listener because I listen to the person. Fuck your title. This is what you did as a person. So that's who I'm looking at. You feel me? That's who I'm looking at. I have sessions with people who end up saying, yo, I can't believe you ain't know that. And they talk to me as if I know everything. No, talk to me as if the conversation is supposed to go the way it's going. And I midway, what do you mean by that? You don't know what that means? No, nigga. That's why I'm asking you what the fuck you mean by that. I'm trying to keep listening. You feel me? And the moment you don't shut, like, I had a person that I was talking to. She was cool. She was dope, but it used to piss me off whenever I would ask her something. And she'll send me a link. No, nigga, you tell me. I want to listen to you. I want to understand why you even talking about this. You just send me, okay, I got you. You don't, for me, I feel like when you're not trying to give me anything to listen to, you don't want me to understand you. You don't want me in. When you only want me to hear you to respond to certain shit, like when you don't want me to listen to you, like we got an issue. And when you don't want to listen to me, we got an issue. Now, here's where we get, like, people think listening is follow my rules. Nah, that's not about control. It's not about control at all. Listening is the art of understanding. I am stepping in a space to thoroughly understand you. You feel me? And if I can't understand you, then what? You got to shut up. You feel me? And that's the thing that's like, how many conversations we have built, relationships, we have built conversation, and motherfuckers can't listen. They can only hear each other. That's why it's like after 5 or 6 years, it's like the person changed or whatever. All we do is argue. You don't argue. You never listen to each other. Now you're at the point where you don't even understand each other because you have not accumulated any experiences or anything to filter out a life. That is like now when I say these certain things, it's like this is where I'm coming from with that. People be thinking they know somebody just because they keep hearing what the person is saying and not listening to what the person is communicating. That's something we have to break. That's something we have to truly get out of, because it's like, how can you truly lock yourself in and say that you have understanding or say that you are in the space that you're truly in to listen if when a person speaks to you, you can't understand what's being said to you? You feel me? Motherfucker would start cutting grass right fucking now, man. God damn it. I'm gonna finish this motherfucker. We almost done. But yeah, listening is like that. I've never met a person who truly listened who wasn't a person who developed and grew in life. But we have an arrogant ego where a lot of people, not even ego sometimes, like I said, we're in fight or flight response. All we do is here to respond. They say when you're going through a stressful situation, like I knew a person who's like, when you're going through a stressful situation, you often repeat the trauma. You don't really know it. These are things that I'm coming to terms with sometimes. Like I have conversations with people and they were like, yo, you said that already. And as a motherfucker who doesn't like to repeat itself to hear, yo, you said that already, that means, I'm not even listening to myself talk. That means I'm hearing and I'm responding. And what I'm responding to, what I'm hearing is making me think of this and it's making me go here. That means I'm not listening. You feel what I'm saying? Something I had to come to terms with. You feel me? You're going to start revisiting it. And those are things that you got to address and those things that you really got to sit with. But you got to start listening to the things that you're saying to yourself. And listening is, like I said, taking the process of the information that you're hearing and actually understanding. It's an art. It's an art. You can't just, like, people hear it and then they just run with it. They don't take a moment to listen and shit. And when you listen, you actually sit, you understand, and you're able to filter it. Like when I'm looking at the Emerald tablets and shit, like when I'm learning shit about religion, when I'm learning shit, like whenever I'm learning anything new, I have a expansive filter. So when I talk to people about shit, if y'all heard one of the last episodes I did when I was talking about the 64 hexagrams in the it's either in the I Ching and it's in the human design. But then when I made the connection, 64 hexagrams are the 64 codons in DNA. It's like, how did you get that? Because that's how you listen. When you listen and you have the information, you can filter things differently. So it's like 64 hexagrams. And then each one of these hexagrams, each one of the lines in the hexagrams correlates to a codon. Wow, this is biologically sound. Okay, I get you. And you have an initiating codon for here. When that information is presented, I'm not confused. When the mRNA shit came out, because I'm a forensic biology major and shit, like that's why they make us major and shit, y'all. As a forensic biology major who has done PCR and done it, like I was able to understand and listen. Y'all, this ain't gonna work. I could listen, but other people could only hear. And they only heard what they feared. And they reacted to that. The people that didn't get jabbed or whatever, they were able to actually listen to what was being said. Motherfuckers wasn't dying of COVID, they were dying with COVID. It was labeled as dying of. They came out and admitted that too. The boosters and shit didn't work, and they still having shit on TV like you're getting your second and third. Like, who's still getting fucking boosters, bro? Motherfuckers that can't listen. They can only hear, and they can only hear. And now when you hear, you have to trust. So who do you trust? Your doctor? This is why they said trust science. And I'm like, trust science that had not been done? I was able to listen. A lot of motherfuckers couldn't listen. That's why it was bittersweet. Now I'm more at peace with it. When my uncle said shit like, yo, we're not scientists. He couldn't listen. And because I had not finished my science shit, I got my degree in forensic biology. He was at my graduation, but because I didn't finish med school, and it's like all of that suddenly went away. It's like, no, y'all don't have to listen to me. And that's something that I learned. Like I used to tying it all back to the homeboy that was like, yo, listen. When he was in class, he was like, listen. When we say, I used to tell people, like I had a conversation with my mom one time. And I was like, you didn't listen to me. Like, you don't listen to me? No, I always listen to you. Sometimes I don't hear you. or sometimes but I always listen to you. And people think listening is when I tell you something and you do it. No, that's obedience. That's obedience. That's not you listening to me. That's you being obedient to me. When I listen to you, I understand what it is you're saying. And now I make my decision of life based off of that. Sometimes when you listen, you're able to understand that somebody doesn't understand what they talk about, which throws a whole reality off. You feel me? Now I'm speaking generally. I'm talking about my mom and not knowing what she's talking about in regards to it, But in those moments when it'd be like, yo, you're not listening to me. Certain things I can't come to you for because I can't listen to you. Because I have information already that you don't have. So what would I be listening to? That's something about parenting that we need to add into it that we don't really think about. We don't look at the parenting model the way that it's supposed to be looked at. You feel me? We want our children to be obedient. We don't want our children to listen to us. We want them to be obedient to the words we say. This is why when a child asks a parent why, they say, because I said so. Hear me, but don't listen to me because I don't have nothing to listen to. Because I'm the adult and I said so. And I don't want to admit that I really don't have the answer. Which means that if I don't really have the answer, that means that you're really not supposed to be listening to me. Which now creates a whole different world because as a parent, it's like I'm here for my child to listen to. Right? But your child is listening to gain understanding. Listening is the art of understanding. You're supposed to be when you get your child to listen to you, it is because they have the understanding to get it. You feel me? Motherfuckers always be asking me like, why are you so quiet? Are you shy? No, bitch. I'm observing the situation. I'm listening to y'all. I'm listening to what's going on. You feel me? And in listening to what's going on, I'm not hearing shit. I'm listening. So I gotta shut the fuck up and listen. You feel what I'm saying? I was on a panel one time and one of the dudes was like, they asked me a question, right? Now, because of what I said, they asked me a question about religion, and because of the way in which I answered, all he heard was, all he heard was that. I don't know what he heard, but what he heard, he internalized that I was woke. That it was, he said, yeah, my brother's a hotep. You just gonna throw shots like that, homie? And then he gonna go into, yeah, because I believe in Jesus or whatever. You trying to win the crowd back because they were listening. Like, this is one thing that got me, because in the way in which I speak, people be like, yo, people tell me I can command a room, and they don't realize why I command a room, because I can make people listen to me. And people be thinking, I had a girlfriend get mad at me one time. She said, I hate the fact that when you talk, people shut up because people listen to me. But they just like, it don't matter what you talk about. I said, that's because now I'm older. Now I can look at it. I said, well, I command a room. It's just not my natural essence. But now I know my natural essence is I am able to communicate understanding far better than a lot of people. So because of that, people shut the fuck up when I talk. Why? Because they're able to fucking listen to me. Which means that whatever it is that I'm presenting is not outside of their understanding. I'm using the right words, I'm using the right experiences, and I'm using the right explanations as to what it is that I'm getting my point across so they can listen to what I'm saying. It's not hard. That's how you command a room. You have to get people to listen to you. To get people to listen to you means that you have to be well-versed in what you're saying. So when you're able to deliver it, you're not giving shit that motherfuckers can hear. This is why they teach you, one of my elders, that I study and I learned from, he said, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't know what you're talking about. That's the power of reaching understanding. When I can make you listen, because I'm not using certain words, I'm not like, those are things that we have to succumb to. You feel what I'm saying? And if the person doesn't know the exact way in which you communicate, you shut the fuck down. When I start talking about shit, like, my biggest confusion is like when I talk about stocks, when I talk about trading, I always speak on just analysis. I don't speak on the bullshit that's going to entice you to say, I know about that. Like, I'm purposely going to speak on shit you don't understand. But I'm going to say it in a way in which you shut the fuck up. You got to listen to me. Because you don't get it, but I'm making it clear. Now you have to see how it is that I do. You feel what I'm saying? So frail, the whole series was supposedly designed like that, but like that's why that's a book. That's why I've had somebody tell me one time, they said, yo, you don't speak like you write. Cause bitch, I know how to make motherfuckers listen. People who read listen differently than people who just hear. The fuck? The people who actually can read my books, I'm not going like the people who read my books and they say I can't. Why would I talk to you like I read, like I write my books? You feel me? That means if I talk to you like I write my books, I can only fuck with the audience who of the people who can get the content in my books. What about the other motherfuckers who's not gonna read my shit? That's where the soul for conversations come in. So for a conversation, like you hear him, and I've had somebody tell me this, they're like, yo, I bought the books for So for a Conversation. I did not know that you was that deep. I was like, what you mean? They was like, nah, bro, just it's good material, it's good content. Like, but it's like, I thought So for a Conversations, like the books was gonna be just like that. No, So for a Conversations are inspired by the book and the world that we live in. But I'm not gonna give you what's in the book. And like, cause I use it whole different, like I make you sit and focus, and you're gonna go back and read new words. You're gonna go back and learn new concepts that you're gonna have to study because I'm gonna make you listen. But when I'm speaking verbally, that's a lot faster. You're not at your own pace. You're not in the comfort of yourself. You are for the most part, but it's like when you listen to me, I have to make sure that you're listening, which means everything that I give you, I have to make sure you understand it. I can't keep it out of your reach. If I keep it out of your reach, that defeats the purpose. How much of the shit do we take in on a regular basis that we don't understand? We just hear. Like we really can't listen to, we just hear. 99% of the medical, like motherfuckers are taking medicines they can't pronounce. So that means, could you have possibly listened to your doctor when they prescribed the medicine for you? Which means that, do you even know what the fuck is wrong with you? You feel me? I've heard people who say, yo, I got to take this medicine with the O on it. Omeprazole, Oxymo, like what O? I don't know the name of it. Don't laugh at that shit, bro. Don't laugh at that shit. I used to see people laughing about being ignorant. No, now, because you can't listen. If you cannot listen to your doctor, your health is horrible. It's going to be horrible. You have to hear what they say and trust that. This is why when I was in med school and I realized the game, they literally had a class on empathy. They said there's a way in which you got to talk to people. You have to get people to listen to you. And it did not include knowing what you were talking about. This is why, you got to take this medicine. You got to do this. Well, this is why they used it. This is why they created professionalism. They created the notion and the idea that if you use a certain vocabulary, this is why they create certain lexicons. Because if you cannot understand the lexicon, if you cannot, do y'all now see why I'm so big on words? If you can't understand what's being spoken, you cannot possibly listen. You can only hear and react. And if you can only hear and react, you are a dangerous person. You are in a very dangerous and volatile society. And don't forget to check out Palacafe Clothing, formerly Just Scenes merch. Get all of your intricate designs crafted specifically for the melanated being to develop a positive imagery within self and to have a little bit of fun in the process. From the peace, love, knowledge, and freedom to the dead horses and water designs, all the styles are crafted for the imagery to make you feel as you're supposed to feel. Because as I always say, the best way to fit in is to stand out. And what better way to stand out than with your exclusive styles from Palacafe Clothing. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end it there. That's listening. I hope y'all listen. But nah, I know y'all listen. If y'all are here, like some of y'all that are here, man, to the day ones, to the people who have listened to everything that I've done when I was, and this is one of the reasons why I was just about to say this, but to the day ones who have listened when I was doing videos and shit. Do y'all notice how the podcast scape, the video side, is what I was started doing in 2017? Everybody sitting on the couch by themselves. Like, they stole that from me, bro. I don't care what nobody. I was literally the first and only one doing that shit. But this is one of the reasons why I stopped doing it. Because the vanity, you hear me say this shit all the time. I don't like vanity. You feel me? The people weren't listening to me. They weren't listening to me. They were hearing me and believing me. And it hurt my feelings. I didn't want to show my face no more because most of the audience was women. And of course they would translate and give it to, the guys or whatever the case may be, or the guys they knew. But for the most part, it was women, and it looked like Y'all are just lusting. Y'all aren't learning. Y'all aren't listening. Y'all are lusting over me. And I hated that. Some of them were actually listening. Don't get me wrong. But some of them weren't. It was just, ooh, he's so cute and he's smart. Ooh, he's so handsome and he's smart. I'm going to get him. No, you're not, because you can't listen to me. Ooh, drop that knowledge. How you know I'm dropping knowledge? You trust what I say. You're not listening to me because you don't have the capacity. Like, I've had people say, I want to share some of your content, but I know the people on my page won't get it. Do you get it? Yeah, I get it. Well, all right, then that's enough. You listen because you understand what I'm saying. You're able to listen. A lot of us can't listen, which means we don't know the art of understanding, which means that we're not even moving our information through the 4 levels of the mind correctly. We just believe shit, which makes us hear. That's scary to know that society makes you like that. You think you smart as fuck and you can't even listen. Because to listen requires you to have a level of understanding, which is also tied to critical. We don't take our first critical thinking class to college. College is when you take your first critical thinking class, which is crazy because how many people don't go to college? That means how many people don't take critical thinking classes, which means how many people are not critically thinking right now? How many people don't listen? So many motherfuckers can hear, but not many motherfuckers can listen. You feel me? Like this punk motherfucker that's cutting grass right now. This motherfucker know I do a podcast in the morning. Now you're gonna cut grass. No, I'm bullshit. He don't know I do a podcast in the morning this year. I tried to beat him. I knew he was gonna cut grass this weekend. I tried to beat him, but fuck it. We late. But we already got the gyms in. So, but on a serious note, but listening is something that is a lost art. Motherfuckers can't listen because they don't understand. How many conversations, like really take a moment to really sit how many motherfuckers you talk to, and now you're gonna think about, damn, that's what a communication barrier was. Neither one of us was listening to each other. We heard each other and we kept responding. And it's like, yo, we get so programmed into that it's just like, yo, respond to this, respond to this, respond to this. It's like, I said this, you said that, I said this, you said that. There'll be times I'll be like, let me sit with that. I got you, didn't I? It ain't about getting me. I'm listening to you, and I'm trying to understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. It's a very valid point. Women used to get mad at me. They should love it, but they used to get mad at me when I'm like, yeah, you're right. You just trying to shut me up. No, I listened to what the fuck you said, and your point is plausible. That's not. I'm not saying it to shut you up. Like I can really, and this I wouldn't repeat back what they said. I would give back the understanding. You're saying blah 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 blah. It's like, yes, you get it. You exactly. That's why I'm shutting the fuck up and bowing out because I was wrong. Everybody wants to be right or wrong, but nobody wants to be understood. Now, everybody wants to pick a side to be right or wrong, but nobody's like, okay, I want to be understood, devoid of being right or wrong. When you're understood, it don't matter if you're right or wrong. Hey, this is what it is. But when you're focused on being right or wrong, you're never going to be understood. You'll be misunderstood, which means you cannot be listened to. When your focus is to be right, that means you have to hear somebody and say the shit that's I can't say the right shit. I just gotta say shit to make y'all understand. That's when the antithesis shit comes in because I don't care if it's good or bad. I'm gonna deliver the message. I'm gonna deliver what needs to be delivered, and you're going to listen to me. You know why? Because you can fucking listen. Not that your ears work. Yes, we know your ears work when you can honk. If you can honk, you can hear. Yes, but I can't listen because I don't understand what you're saying. We grew up in households and shit where, the parents, they want to show, they use the bigger words because I want my kids to have a very different vocabulary and I'm going to use these words on a regular basis and shit. And we get used to words and use them so much that it becomes overused. And we still don't know the definition of it. We just know it's been used. Like humble. Y'all hear the word humble and think it's good, but y'all never listen to the context or listen to what it means to be humble. Humble means to make yourself insignificant. So when the motherfuckers tell you to be humble, when it says, when your religion, the thing that governs the highest conceptualization of your mind tells you to be humble. Because that's what's right. Be humble. And you're listening to that, but you don't understand what the word humble means. You don't understand the context of that. What you're listening to becomes different. So now you hear the word humble and you hear people say humble means that I don't think too much of myself. Humble means to make yourself insignificant to something. That means whatever the reference point is that is telling me to be humble, that thing wants me to be less than it. Ain't no fucking way. Ain't no fucking way. If I'm a better rapper than you, you're not gonna tell me to humble myself. I remember when my brother, he got out of jail one time, and this is the first time he heard me rap. And he says, "You're pretty good." Nigga, I'm dope. I'm one of the best out. Don't get a big head. Be humble. No, I'm not making myself insignificant. Do you not hear my bars, bro? I was I was 16 years old. I was 16 and 17 years old coming up with shit that will crush motherfuckers' bars right now. The shit that I'm saying right now, motherfuckers is still processing. You feel me? I got a line one time. I think I said this in like 2017 or 18. It was right around the time that Kanye West was wearing a MAGA hat. So it had to be 16, like when he was 16 or 17. But anyway, in the line, I said, what the fuck? When it comes to blue and red, we don't give a fuck. But when it comes to black and blue, we don't bruise it up. You feel what I'm saying? 2 bars, impactful lines that hit. Like, and I've been saying shit like that since I was a kid. When it comes to black and blue, we don't bruise it up because we know bruises means you're black and blue, but we know the black and blue is actually the beat between the police and the black people. You feel what I'm saying? It's levels to my shit. You feel me? So when he said that, now mind you, when he said that, I had to be like 20, 21, right? So at this point, I'm in a whole different prime. You feel me? I'm in a whole different prime of lyricism. It's not even where I'm at right now, but at the time I was one of my peaks. You feel me? Some of the bars that I was saying was just like, wow, I can't believe you feel me? Can't believe you said it. And I was religious too, but either way, in him listening to it, I think the song that he listened to was a song I got called No Competition. And right. And I think one of the verses I ended, I was like, I said, fill you with some holes so when the wind blows, your body whistles. Now, that's some fucked up shit. I don't like my old bars as wild, but I was like, I fill you with some holes so when the wind blows, your body whistles. And then I whistled at the end of the song, and then it goes into the hook. No competition. Who fucking with me? Nobody. And that's the song you're gonna tell me to be? No, are you listening to my song that says no competition? No competition. You feel me? And when you hear the like, I fill you with some holes, so when the wind blows, your body whistle. Your body ain't gonna whistle because you're gonna be dead. But the point of the matter is that when something has holes in it, winds blows by, it's like, and then it's like the metaphor and the example. So when him telling me, yo, I'm like, yo, nobody's better than me. You feel me? Nobody's better than me in the context in which I rap. You feel me? I was literally on that echelon level that if I would have got signed at that time, at this particular time, I would have been rounding out the greats. I would have been in that space with the Drakes, Wale's, Kendricks, and J. Cole's, and like I would have been there. I was literally on the verge of getting signed. I just chose to graduate college instead. And the girlfriend that I was with at the time, she said she didn't want me to do it. That's how easy it was for me. And then when I tell her, like, yo, that's how good I am at this shit. Like, I made the choice and I could pick it up at any time. Now it's even better because I know branding, marketing, advertising, shit. When I start working on my next album and I drop it, I'm gonna put it on. Like, I'm going to be at a space where y'all know the videos that I do now with the Erykah Badu. Like, damn, y'all feel that? That's gonna change to my shit. Everything is gonna be mine. Everything's gonna be mine. But that's coming down the line. But the point that I'm making, because I kind of got off with that, was that my brother heard me, but he didn't listen. So when I told him, he was like, yo, be humble. I'm not about to be insignificant. So like, who's better than me? Like, who have you heard that has said the shit that I've said? And you say I'm up there with those greats, then give me that. And let me accept that within myself. You feel me? But we tell ourselves to be humble because we don't listen to the word humble. We don't listen because we don't have the information behind why we have to be humble. We just know that we have to behave a certain way that doesn't put more on us or make us look a certain way. No, fuck that. Learn to listen. Learn to listen. When people are telling you something, listen to what they're saying and understand it. You feel me? Don't hear what they say and then try to change the shit. I had a girlfriend tell me one time, I don't know if I really like you. You feel me? I don't know if I just want to fuck you or if I want to be in a relationship with you. I think you want to be in a relationship. No, she just wanted to fuck and I should have just fucked. I didn't listen to her. I heard her, and then I also heard how women always complaining about men ain't shit, and I wanted to be a good man. I wanted to wear a cape. I wanted to be that motherfucker, and I was that. I got exactly what I was supposed to get out of that situation. I proved that I was a good man. It didn't matter. I didn't listen to the motherfucker that I was dealing with. So many of us don't listen to the motherfuckers that we're dealing with because we can't understand what they're saying because we're hearing them and we're got the rose-colored glasses or whatever the case may be, and we just want to belong to somebody. Nah, motherfucker, listen and shut the fuck up. And you'll, like I said, you'll know when you're in a space to listening when you shut the fuck up naturally. You feel me? When people say shit like, yo, I control a room, I command it, no, people are willing to listen to me because they know that I can deliver understanding that they don't have. But when I'm delivering this understanding, they get it. Like, I did speaking panels and shit where the motherfuckers like, yo, you making so much sense to me right now. I know. I do that. I remember that bit. That was funny as shit. Like, because they did a live on it and they actually caught this one part. And so Shorty was like, she said, yo, you making so much sense. I said, I be doing that. And like everybody busted out laughing because I do. Because you listen to me because I can provide you with the understanding you're looking for. Everybody in the room was quiet. When they said something, I listen or whatever the case may be. And I'll be quiet. And they be like, yo, who? I throw the lob to whoever's the question. But when it's time for me to answer the question, motherfuckers shut the fuck up and listen because it's the art of understanding. I make them understand. I have a natural energy. I have a natural essence. I have a natural expression of myself, tone of voice. All of that shit is important to make you listen to me. I don't want you just to hear me. I don't want you just to hear me. Not on any funny shit. I'm going to say this and I'm going to really wrap it up. For real. I'm really going to try to wrap it up. This is funny going. One of my listeners, right, they hit me up. And it was like, yo, I love how every time you say I'm going to wrap it up, it keep going. It's like, all right, for real, I'm going to try to wrap it up. But yeah, damn, I done lost the thought I was going with. That's what I get. All right, I guess I got to really wrap it up. But yeah, when you listening, right, you got to be quiet, right? When they say, and listening, like I say, it's the art of understanding. This is why you know when they say your children are too quiet, they listening. We think listening is just hearing. We think listening is just appealing to the sense of the ear. No, they're trying to understand. When a child is quiet and you go in that motherfucker, they got Vaseline everywhere. They are understanding the Vaseline. That's why you don't hear them. But that's also why silence is so fucking loud. Now, when I said it, it sounded like it was confusion. Now you get it. Silence is the loudest thing you'll never hear. You never heard that child, but because you never heard that child, you heard that child. So what the fuck is you doing? You come in there Vaseline every fucking where. Because they're listening and trying to understand the Vaseline. That's what listening is. It's the art of understanding. Break the mode of it always applying to your ears. No, it is how well what you heard can be understood. And there's going to be deficits if you do not have the vocabulary, you do not have the understanding, you do not have the lexicon for what you're talking about. Doesn't matter how well you educate it. And this was the point that I was going to make a while back that I kind of forgot off. Your majors, this is why they make us major and shit. They only want us to listen to a specific thing. You feel me? We're all naturally multi-geniuses. You know why? Because genius isn't what you are, it's what you have. You can be a genius at whatever you want to be a genius in. When people think I'm all over the place, what you do, hitting it raw, you do like that. That's because I use my genius. That's my brand. My whole entire entity, my whole entire being is called Justine. It's not because I'm limiting myself. It's like, no, at the end of the day, I do what I want to do. What I feel like understanding, I do. And I give it to the world. Right? But I have the understanding to go in different spaces. So it's like, wow, I thought you know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers was like, yo, I thought you did day trade and investing. I do. Wait, but you're a podcaster. No, I'm not. I got a podcast. Just feeling like talking about shit, so I talk about it. Oh, you feel me? I thought you was on masculinity. No, I wrote books on masculinity. I'm not the masculine guy. Y'all can stay in that box all you want to, because now when your major hits, now, yeah, you dive down rabbit holes and you can, get your major and all of that other shit in there. But then can you listen to anything outside of that? That's one of the biggest downfalls of religious people. They cannot listen to anything outside of the religion. When they tell you that's the only book that you need to read, you got a problem. Because how well can you understand? And if that's the only place that you can understand, how well can you listen? Now you wonder why you argue with religious people about shit. And as soon as you say something, they hear you and they give you a scripture or hadith. Nigga, that's not what the fuck I'm talking about. What? Where did you wait? What? Because you here to respond. You here to react. I mean, and when you can't understand what you're talking about, you got to listen. These motherfuckers are still reading. They'll tell you, I don't understand it. So how can you listen to it? Imagine that. For 400 years, we believed in a book that we were never able to listen to. We couldn't read and we couldn't write. We could not read and we could not write. And we were given a Bible to read out of. Yeah, because now that you can't write, you don't have any other books to read. You can only read this book. I know you can't listen to anything else outside of this. We wonder why when it's time to fight for movements, we have to come in a religious construct. We wonder why everything that is built off America that is tied to the black person has to be associated with God. The only profitable things and the successful things that run, it's like, oh, you have to be associated with God. Even down they exploit the shit on social media. Motherfuckers is like, yo, you believe I'm not about to appeal to y'all to make y'all. I'm not about to affiliate with some shit to make y'all listen to me. Either you're gonna listen or you're not. That's why I'm just saying. Don't fuck with me because I do plant-based shit. Don't fuck with me because I'm esoteric. Don't fuck with me because I'm religious. Don't fuck with me because of this, because you're gonna have to keep me in a box and you can't listen. But the fact that I'm able to go into whatever world I want to is the reason why people listen to me, because I know how to communicate to make motherfuckers listen. And that's what we need to translate to our kids. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it there. Go kiss your babies, make sure they eat their vegetables, and let your children show you all the time what they will listen to and what they can't listen to. When they get quiet and shut the fuck up, that's what they listen to. But they're listening to what they're able to understand or what they're seeking to understand. Listening and the art of understanding listening is the art of understanding. It goes hand in hand. Learn how to really use that shit. And sit down with your babies and make sure they understand what understanding is. And then now they'll listen to you. You feel me? When I listen, when I'm talking to my nephews and my nieces and shit, I'm listening to what they tell me, and I understand what it is they saying. I don't try to undermine and tell, no, this is what you're gonna do. No, this is what you're telling me. You're a human. You know you better than I do. Like, you're gonna tell me something. So when you tell me some shit, I have to understand it. The problem is, because of the parent-child complex or whatever it is, you're not bound to listen to somebody who is your child, so you're not seeking to understand them because you think your understanding is greater. Which backfires, because now when you get older and you're like, it didn't come with a manual, you would have fooled me, because all this time you were telling me to listen to you. And you were never listening to me because you didn't understand me. Because you couldn't understand me because you thought you had more understanding than me. Stop that with our babies, because now when our babies are older, because now we're in a generation where those people, we're the leaders of whatever. Now the older generation is phasing out and they can't retire, and they didn't listen. You feel me? A lot of the old heads that I got in my space are like, yo, I need another source of income. I told y'all 5 years ago, y'all wasn't gonna be able to retire. Y'all thought I was playing. Y'all didn't want to listen to me. And I used to get mad, but they didn't listen to me because they couldn't understand it. I had not given them the information. I just wanted them to trust me, because that's what I was built on. But let's stop that with our babies, because we gotta cut that shit out, because that's not gonna be fruitful in the future. All right. So go kiss your babies. Make sure they eat their vegetables. And I'm going to see y'all all on the next one. Peace, love, knowledge, and freedom. I'm out.